Presented by Capital One. You're watching the second round presented by Intuit TurboTax. South Carolina has led the nation in attendance the last 10 seasons. They have a packed-in Colonial Life Arena to cheer on the reigning national champion South Carolina Gamecocks. But a familiar foe in the tournament is who they will face today in the second round. South Carolina getting ready for a rematch. In this tournament as of late. The last 4 tournaments, including this year's, they're 17-1. They have won 2 of the last 3 national championships. They have 3 total national titles, and they continue that dominance on Friday.
When you're on a quest to repeat as NCAA championships, you start with a bang. South Carolina did that with 108 points against Tennessee Tech.
Coach Staley has won 3 national championships, 3 banners hang in Colonial Life Arena. Facing Indiana, who's led by a veteran point guard in Chloe Moore McNeil.
In that first round, Moore McNeil had 12 points, 8 assists. She is the epitome of strength, perseverance, unselfishness. She gets everybody in the right place at the right time, and a tremendous defender. She's going to have her hands full today against South Carolina.
One thing you know about playing at South Carolina, it is going to be loud inside Colonial Life Arena.
And Indiana, in their man-to-man defense, they're going to look to try to not allow the ball to get in the paint. Sanaya Fagan gets it early.
Easier said than done. South Carolina leads the nation in paint points per game. This will stay with South Carolina. Let's take a look at today's starting lineups brought to you by Capital One. We mentioned a veteran point guard for Indiana. Well, South Carolina has a veteran too, Raven Johnson, also Tahina Paopao. They can both run the point.
You're going to see Indiana try to get out, score quick before South Carolina gets their defense set.
Indiana's starting 5. Jordan Garzon is their leading scorer. She can play 1 through 5. Can you hear how loud it is already?
Oh my gosh.
Sydney Parrish in the corner leaves it short.
Now, key for South Carolina is going to be not only rebounding the basketball, but shot selection. They did a great job of that in the first round.
Sanaya Fagan in the short corner into the hands of Garzon. Chloe Moore McNeil back out to Sydney Parrish.
Now, Parrish is one that's got to get going for the Hoosiers.
Moore McNeil is going to leave the 3 short, so 2 short shots for Indiana. Terry Morin is in her 11th season leading this Indiana program. They're one of 12 Big Ten teams to make the tournament. That was a new NCAA record. And she has talked about facing the South Carolina team. Their secret sauce is transition, so they want to slow South Carolina down in transition.
So you'll see Indiana, when they're on offense, when they shoot it, they're going to be 4 that are retreating in transition D.
So now Fagan catches it at the corner, rolls around, and it won't drop in. Chachesky rejected by Fagan.
Sanaya Fagan, we talked about not having Camila Cardoso. Who is going to protect the paint? It's Fagan, number 20 in white for South Carolina.
She's 6th in the SEC in blocks per game. You put her defense with her offense recently. The last 6 games offensively, she's shooting 77% from the field.
You know, earlier in the season against Tennessee, she got into some foul trouble, was playing a little tentative, but she's brought her aggressiveness back.
Okay, Raven Johnson posting up a little high-low.
Johnson ain't afraid to get in the paint. You're going to see her post up. You're also going to see her get on the glass, get some rebounds.
Give the assist to Chloe Kitts. Jordan Garzon, their leading scorer. And finally, Indiana has its first points. An Indiana team who's had some ups and downs this season. They went 10-8 in Big Ten play. Lost in the quarters of the Big Ten tournament to USC, but they pushed USC, who is a 1 seed in the NCAA tournament.
tell you, it's a tale of two different parts of the season. The beginning of the season, this is an Indiana team that lost to Butler early. That raised a lot of questions. How good could they be? But they stayed together. They had to ingrain some of these transfers, and now they're playing some of their best basketball.
Here's one of their transfers, Shea Chesky again. Raven Johnson got a hand on that. Chloe Moore McNeil, the kick out to Chesky, 5 seconds. Tahina Paopao trying to feed Fagan, has her pass deflected. And something that Dawn Staley told us irks her, deflections.
I don't like, she said she didn't like it as a player. That would just drive her crazy.
And it's going to be an offensive foul against Caroline Strickland on the screen.
Check out the defense, though, of South Carolina. Everybody in tune off the ball screen. You're getting the hard hedge from Sanaya Fagan, and then she stays with it. Body control, the rotation is there, and then pow with the block. Defense for South Carolina is locked in today.
Tahina Paopao, a fifth-year player. This will be her final NCAA tournament. Caroline Strickland takes a seat after picking up her first foul. Joyce Edwards, South Carolina's leading scorer, has checked into the game, number 8 in white. Gets had to fight her own teammate for the rebound. Her and Joyce Edwards both went up for it.
You know, in practice yesterday, we watched Indiana really work on getting the gaps and not letting the ball come into the paint. South Carolina right now at ease from guard to post. That entry has been pretty simple.
There's Joyce Edwards. The double team comes over and they force her into a travel. You know, Joyce Edwards, just a freshman. Wondered if there would be any nerves on Friday in her very first NCAA tournament game. Absolutely not. 22 points to lead the team, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals.
She did that in 21 minutes. Just another day at the office.
Paopau's got herself another block. Bree Hall to the paint. Bounces out. Chloe kicks, rebound, no. Tahina Paopao takes this back up at the top of the key. They'll reset for the Gamecocks.
But if you're thinking about upsetting South Carolina, you have got to keep them off the offensive boards.
5 seconds. Inside to Edwards. They work it over to Bree Hall for the triple! At the buzzer, Breezy!
South Carolina has done a good job inside to the outside. You got to get by to the paint.
Bacon. And the shoulder shrug from Tahina Paopao. She'll take it.
Things are going well for South Carolina. Remember, this is a team in Indiana that there is no give up. They will continue to compete.
Garzon rejects the screen. Tries to go over Bree Hall. Edwards spins and turns it over. Moore McNeil finishing through contact, and she'll have a free throw when we come back. On the other side, a friendship crossing both of these teams, Tahina Paopao and Sydney Parrish, their connection when we come back to Columbia. Is projected to be the 9th overall pick in the WNBA draft next month. She started her career at Oregon before transferring over to South Carolina, and Sydney Parrish was one of her teammates in Oregon. Sydney now playing for Indiana. They weren't just at Oregon, they were a part of Oregon's Fab 5 recruiting class, which was the #1 recruiting class in the nation at the time. Let's check out how the Oregon Fab 5 have moved on, brought to you by United Airlines, and all 5 of these players ended up transferring out and going somewhere else. But the friendship that Sydney Parrish and Tahina Paopao formed while they were at Oregon, that has State. I mean, Sydney said that as soon as Indiana's name was revealed coming to South Carolina for the tournament, Tahina Paopao was the first one to text her. And even pregame, these families have gotten close. We saw their two families hugging and meeting up.
They said they talk to each other 2 or 3 times a week. That bond that they formed out in Oregon, it has not dissolved, but even gotten stronger. They even take vacations together.
Yeah, this was pregame. The Parrish family talking to Tahina's brother Israel and then her dad, Pastor Paul.
Yeah, so close. And you see both players, when we talk to them about each other, they light up. You can tell there is a sincere love and friendship between those two.
You know, it's kind of interesting as you see Sydney's family. One of these players, they're both fifth-year players. One of these players is going to end their career here today. I love this photo. I don't know what they're horseback riding, but Tahina's face, hilarious.
These are two I bet can get into some trouble together.
While they're really good friends, of course, when they play each other, it is all business. Alijah Fulwiley has entered the game for South Carolina, their second leading scorer. Got a takeaway. Over to Joyce Edwards.
I just wonder if there's been a little bit of pressure on South Carolina, as well as they shot the ball in the first round against Tennessee Tech, over 60%, only shooting 33% here so far.
And Chloe Moore-McNeil snuck inside all by herself.
So smart, moving off the basketball, Moore-McNeil is.
Yeah, that's 67% from the field that South Carolina shot on Friday. That is the third most in an NCAA tournament game in the last 25 seasons. Joyce Edwards off the mark. Alexis Bargesser back out to Yarden Garzone. They work it over to Sydney Parrish.
And Parrish, I think, was expecting some contact there. She's got to be steady off 2 feet and get those easy two. Indiana talked about they're going to play off the post players when they catch it outside the three-point line, really pack the paint. And that's what Indiana wants. They want South Carolina to settle for just those short jumpers instead of getting all the way to the rim.
And they've had to their last 2 possessions, both coming from Joyce Edwards. Moore-McNeil, too much on the 3. Both of these teams shooting under 30% from the field.
We talked to Dawn about what did she not like about that first round game. With all the good things she did, she said she wanted her post game to post up that much stronger.
Oh, that one bounces around for Fagan. It feels like a silly question, right? What did you not like in a 60-point win? But you know that Dawn is always nitpicking little things.
If you're going after your 4th national championship, you have to do that. Oh, that's a good shot take by Caroline Strickland.
Caroline Strickland, the transfer from Tennessee, has experience. This is her 7th time in her career playing South Carolina.
She's familiar with being here in Colonial Life Arena. She knew how loud it was going to be today.
Tessa Johnson elevates off to the right.
Those aren't shots out of rhythm. They're trying to create on their own.
Moore-McNeil. That's impressive because she had to catch that ball at her knees.
But when you're a shooter, wherever it comes to, you just line it up and knock it down.
10-2 run for the Hoosiers. Well, Wiley's short. Bargesser out with it.
And watching Dawn Staley, she's cool, calm, and collected. Going to see if her team can play themselves into a rhythm.
South Carolina hasn't scored in 3 minutes. Shot clock still on for Indiana.
Now it's one-on-one accountability.
Bargesser blocked in the corner by Fulwiley. 3.3 on the clock. sure if they're going to go over and review the time on the shot clock. No, they just let the subs come in.
Terry Morin has situations, even though there's only 4 seconds left to get a good shot.
So 5 seconds showing on the clock now, and 1 second on the shot clock. So you can catch and shoot. I got to get the ball in first. Chesky. And shot clock violation, held it too long. The 3.5 showing on the game clock now. Indiana on a 7-0 run in the first quarter.
The familiarity that Caroline Strickland has with the South Carolina Gamecocks inside. When it comes to you, you know they're coming to block that shot. Give them a little shot fake. Wait on it. A freebie. And when it comes inside, the defense rotates in. She knows she's got shooters on the perimeter. Chloe Moore McNeil knocking down the three.
We'll be back after this message and a word from our ABC stations. They ended up losing by 4, but those 2 points are something that this Indiana team talked about all offseason.
Yeah, well, and you look at the impact that Camila Cardoso had. There were only 2 players for South Carolina in double figures. It was Cardoso and Raven Johnson. This season, it's going to have to be a collective effort on the offensive end if South Carolina wants to protect home court.
South Carolina only 9 points in the first quarter, tied for the fewest in a quarter this season. Alexis Bargesser. Malaysia Falali with the rebound. And the takeaway for Indiana, we were just talking in the break, Coach Peck, about how Indiana is breaking down the South Carolina defense.
Well, South Carolina knows that they've got to try to run Indiana off the three-point line, and so the defense is extended. That time, the defense was late getting to Shea Chesky, and she was able to knock it down. Indiana right now, they play with a lot of confidence. They've got the swag in this second quarter.
A 10-0 run for the Hoosiers.
South Carolina is going to have to over-rotate. The no-look pass to the corner, and Shea Chesky just lines it up. This is a terrific addition to Indiana coming in from Penn State, now playing in her second NCAA tournament game.
Coach Terry Morin calls her a little bulldog. She's a smaller player, is constantly in the gym, finding ways to combat that size, always working on her game. Grew up wanting to be like her older brother Matthew and play basketball just like him.
I met her mother in the hotel lobby last night, and her mom came over. She's very complimentary of you and I. She likes to listen to us. But I asked her about Shea. I said, where does she get that kind of bulldog personality on the floor? And she said all the way up until the 8th grade, she was playing against boys. She would play for the girls' team and then play for the boys' team in her private Catholic school.
Wow, that's awesome. What a great story. Oh, and Chloe Kitts frustrated. That is her second foul. Kitts will take a seat. Now, one of South Carolina's strengths is its depth. But Kitts is an important piece.
And she's the one player that has been playing at the top of her game ever since that Ole Miss game where she had the triple-double. She had double figures leading into this game.
She was the SEC Tournament Most Valuable Player. Yarden Garzon went to hold her eye. I don't know if she got poked or what happened, but still on the floor. Tessa Johnson fouled by Caroline Strickland. That will be her second. Indiana not as deep as South Carolina, so that also a problem.
I think Tessa Johnson got Garzone across the face. But there was no whistle. You got to play on.
Tessa Johnson at the free throw line was a part of the Final Four All-Tournament team last season as a freshman. Jordan Garzone, the leading scorer for Indiana, will take a seat. And Johnson gets both free throws.
You see how South Carolina's defense is extended because you have to respect the three-point shot from really all 5 of Indiana's players.
Chesky guarded by Pow Pow. Here's a move she worked on in the gym.
She's a smaller guard than Terry Morin is used to, but when she went into the portal, her mom told me, Chesky's mom said Terry Morin was one of the first to call and said she's got that dog, that personality that she also likes. Doesn't matter if you're not tall enough.
16 points in the first round on Friday, her very first career NCAA tournament game.
Yeah, Chesky asked Terry Morin, why didn't you recruit me earlier? And Terry told her, well, you just weren't big enough. And she said, I've learned better now and so happy to have her on her squad.
Miriam Dowda is inside right now for South Carolina. Chloe Kitt's on the bench with 2 fouls. And Lily Meister, I think, got a hand on that shot by Tessa Johnson.
You can tell who Indiana is worried about most on the floor. It's whoever Chloe Moore McNeil is guarding, and right now, that would be Tessa Johnson when they're back on defense.
Fagan and Bree Hall waiting at the table to check in for South Carolina. Garzone is there for Indiana. Lily Meister working her way around Miriam Dowda.
Yeah, Meister got a lot of confidence in that first-round game. She had 11 points for Indiana.
That was her first double figure since December 28th. 14-2 run Hoosiers. No trauma on the shot from Raven Johnson, and the Gamecocks will take it. South Carolina only scored 9 points in the first quarter. Pow block. And Edwards out of control in the fast break.
Indiana is playing with a lot of confidence offensively. Chesky just breaking down Tahina Pow one-on-one, getting the jumper. And then Meister isolated again one-on-one. Terrific fundamental footwork to get the finish.
Indiana's outscored South Carolina here in the second quarter, 7-4. They're outscoring them in the paint, too. A South Carolina team that's first in the nation in paint points per game.
Well, right now, South Carolina is reacting defensively instead of dictating, and Indiana has been able to take advantage.
Raven Johnson is going to slow things down here for South Carolina. Fagan got it back and put it in the hoop. First points for Sanaya Fagan. Indiana, meanwhile, started 1 for 8. Since then, 7 for 15. Chloe Moore McNeil, yes! Second time she got herself to the free throw line for a three-point play.
South Carolina and Indiana back and forth. Indiana, they've got revenge on their mind. South Carolina trying to protect home court. They remember back to the Sweet 16. If there's anybody that knows, it's Chloe Moore McNeil, the point guard right now. Indiana in charge.
Well, it is a photo finish right now on ESPN. An update for you. Ayoka Lee and K-State pushing Kentucky right now. She's got 16 as they look to punch their ticket to the Sweet 16. In terms of the game we're seeing right now in Columbia, what's standing out to you?
Indiana's timely shot making has the Gamecocks on their heels.
Yeah, and give Chloe Moore McNeil credit. She's a veteran. She's 4 of 6 from the field right now, 10 points.
Much more.
Drive, and there are her sisters sitting in the stands, Kylie, Oren, and Odalis. And Kylie, just a few days ago, won a state championship. She's a high school freshman, and of course, her dad there on the right.
Well, her dad is an AAU coach, and I asked him, is the little one going to play too? And he said, oh, they don't have a choice. I'm a coach, so all 3 of them are ballers.
Sorry, her dad on the left.
Tourney.
Brittany Hall trying to shoot South Carolina back into this ball game. We asked Chloe what she wanted her sisters to take away from her, and she said, I want them to know that no matter what your role is, own it. Give everything you have to fulfill that role for your team.
You hear the teammates of Indiana that played with Chloe, and they talk about how selfless she is. She gets happier for her teammates to score than she does for herself. Loves to set them up.
And a travel on Sydney Parrish. South Carolina gaining some momentum.
For the first quarter and a half, Dawn Staley very calm as Indiana was making their run. But in that last timeout, we saw Dawn Staley get a little animated, and her team seems to have come out of that timeout with a response.
What do you think about South Carolina offensively so far in this game?
Well, I didn't like all of the shots that they were taking early. Not moving it and catching in rhythm. That's much better for South Carolina.
To 2-run Gamecocks. Takeaway. Edwards. And a foul against Sydney Parrish, her first.
The improvement Dawn Staley wanted to see from the first round to this round is their post being stronger, a bigger presence inside, and Sanaya Fagan gets 2 feet in the paint and the finish. I think that's what Coach Staley was looking for.
And so smart because you know that Caroline Strickland has 2 fouls, so she's got to play you safe on the defensive side, and Sanaya Fagan went right after her.
Well, you already mentioned that. Indiana has a short bench. They do not have the depth that South Carolina is, and Terry Morin said foul trouble could be an issue. She's got to keep her players on the floor.
South Carolina first in the nation in bench points per game. Indiana 318th in bench points per game. Stepped out of bounds. 7 turnovers for the Hoosiers.
Dawn Staley has an ability with this South Carolina team. If shots aren't falling, you know how when you're cooking in the oven, if you cook with gas and you can turn the heat up and the fire goes up, she can do that with this team on the defensive end.
Oh, Fagan's just taken over. Remember, last 6 games, she's shooting 77% from the field. 12-2 run. Indiana hasn't scored in 2.5 minutes. Chesky the kick out to their zone. Gotta use the shot fake when you're in amongst the trees.
So smart by Chesky. She knows she's going to have a bigger player flying at her, little shot fake, and get the finish.
Meanwhile, on this end of the floor, South Carolina has hit its last 4 shots.
The ball is moving, not so much trying to create a shot for yourself, but set up situations for each other.
6 seconds. Joyce Edwards traveled. Sydney Parrish doing a nice job defending that.
As Sanaya Fagan, coaching staff refers to her as Joelle Embiid of the Gamecocks. Just strong, powerful. I like how she got that inside foot in the paint to get the finish. But then on the other end, Shea Chesky with the shot fake. Smallest one on the floor, but get the finish.
Sydney Parrish for three. Her first points. She had 21 points last year in the Sweet 16 against South Carolina.
Not only did she have 21 points, she was 5 of 10 from the three-point line. She's got to hunt buckets outside the arc. Chesky got hung up there, blocking Tessa Johnson on the cut.
That's going to be her second foul. Indiana led 12-9 after the first quarter. Here in the second quarter, both teams have scored 14 points. Catch and shoot, Tessa Johnson, got it.
Yeah, Johnson has diversified her game. What's known as a three-point shooter, now it's all around.
Indiana's hit its last 3 shots. Lily Meister inside the kick out to Garzon. Jardine Garzon, their leading scorer, only 2 points so far in the first half.
And look where the ball screen with Sanaya Fagan is strong, so you've got a strong roll from your big.
There it is. Joyce Edwards on the miss. A 1-point game at the half to decide who is going on to the Sweet 16. Both teams heating up. Indiana made 3 of its last 4. South Carolina's made 5 of its last 6. The Hoosiers with TurboTax. The defending national champion down at the half. Here in the second round of the NCAA tournament, Indiana leads South Carolina by a point. Courtney Lyle, Carolyn Peck with you. We were just talking at halftime about how rebounding really impacted the flow of that first half.
Well, early in the game, South Carolina wasn't making shots, but they were able to get to the offensive glass. They had 4 offensive rebounds. In that second quarter, Indiana tightened things up. They were making shots, Indiana was, but they were keeping South Carolina off the glass. That's why they're sitting with the lead right now.
Well, let's take a look at how Indiana is fueling the run. It's brought to you by Wendy's.
South Carolina's defense in transition. You've got Malaysia Fulwiley and Sanaya Fagan right here. They're trailing. They are reacting instead of dictating. And because of that, now Caroline Strickland can cut to the basket because you have 2 that are still in a scramble. And when that happens, defense doesn't know who's got what. And that left Chloe Moore McNeil wide open for the 3-point shot. Those defensive breakdowns can take the wind out of your sail.
Let's check out today's game track brought to you by Invesco QQQ. Chloe Moore McNeil leading all scorers with 10 points. South Carolina only had 9 points in the first quarter. That's the fewest since 2019. And a team that relies on their depth. First in the nation in bench points, only 7 points off the bench for the Gamecocks.
I think what South Carolina was doing was trying to create their own shot. They were 6 of 11 off the bounce into their shots. But off the pass, off the pass, they were 6 of 11. When they were trying to create off the bounce, they were 4 of 17. That doesn't work for South Carolina. They've got to move the basketball, make the defense go side to side and set each other up.
One of these teams moving on to the Sweet 16. Can Indiana play spoiler to South Carolina's hopes of back-to-back titles? Tahina Paopao. Covered up by Chloe Moore McNeil.
I'm watching Sydney Parrish, number 33 in black. She has not really left the paint. She's clogging up everything inside.
Chloe Kitts back on the floor. She had to sit down with 2 fouls early on for South Carolina. She only played 7 minutes in the first half, and those are her first points.
That's a great point. Wow, they really missed. South Carolina missed Chloe Kitts on the floor. She's been making things happen for them through the SEC tournament and on to the NCAA.
The SEC tournament MVP. This is going to be last touched by South Carolina. Stays with Indiana. And Chloe Kitts told us after the UConn loss, she stood up. She was one of a couple players that stood up in front of the team, apologized to the team, and she said, I've got to play better. I've got to do more. That UConn loss, so critical for this whole South Carolina team.
I think it was Kitts, Fagan, and Tahina Paopao took accountability for that loss.
Since then, a lot has changed for South Carolina. A block by Bree Hall. Up ahead to Paopao. Layup. Jordan Garzone setting things up. She can play 1 through 5 for this Indiana team.
It's a 6'3" point guard up top.
Caroline Strickland. Great vision by Chloe Moore McNeil.
She is the one player that can beat these South Carolina players off the bounce, and then when the defense over-rotates, she has terrific vision of finding the open opportunity.
Strickland now 2 for 2. Raven Johnson off the mark on the spin. And a travel on Indiana. That'll be their 9th turnover.
And Raven Johnson missed that shot again off the bounce, getting into the paint. Remember early in the first quarter, they posted her up. Ball came to her instead of her taking the ball herself. The ball has got to move. They need to get 2 or 3 passes in a possession to get good looks.
They were so good at that on Friday. That's why they shot 67% from the field. There you go.
Sanaya Fagan just demanded her space. Got 2 feet in the paint. Had her defender buried underneath the rim.
8 points for Fagan. Inside to Strickland.
Let's see if Sanaya Fagan continues to go to work inside.
Chloe Kitts with a swish.
Terry Morin thought she traveled up top.
Solid move from Caroline Strickland.
That's a little shake and bake.
Let's go.
Caroline. It's going to be a battle. She and Fagan. Fagan, if she posts strong inside, she can win that battle.
Oh, Fagan says, look at this. You like a little battle in the post, Coach Beck?
Oh, I am here for it.
Garzone. Strickland. Rebound by Kitts.
Yeah, that's where I would go, to Sanaya Fagan and give her room to work.
Seven points in this quarter for Kitts. And a major response for Sydney Parrish.
The bigs for South Carolina have stepped up big coming out of the locker room in this third quarter. Sanaya Fagan, number 2-0, goes outside, clapping for it, wants it, gets position, holds the defense off. If she makes her presence felt inside, good things can happen for South Carolina. Open up Chloe Kitts, nothing but the bottom of the net for 3.
March Madness in full force. How about that? What a career. Congrats to K-State. What a career that Georgia Amore has had. It's been fun to watch play.
And what she and Kenny Brooks did coming to Kentucky and taking after rebuilding a Kentucky program.
Yeah.
Congratulations on the season that they had this year.
First half, third quarter, totally different for South Carolina. They've come out of the locker room 6 of 7 from the field. They trailed by a point at halftime. Just the 4th time this season they've trailed in a ball game.
You mentioned it.
At half.
Chloe Kitt's missing in that first half with that foul trouble. She has made her presence felt right out of the locker room.
She kicks it out to Bree Hall, driving in through the paint. Winner of this game going to the Sweet 16. They will face either Alabama or Maryland in Birmingham. That game will be on Friday. Pow with the swipe. 2 points for Tahina Pow. Largest lead for the Gamecocks. Pow said, "Give me that."
Defense is at another level for South Carolina.
Bree Hall buried it. Plies is feeling every minute of it. The defense is fueling the Gamecocks.
In the first half, I felt like South Carolina, they were reacting to Indiana. They have come out of the locker room in this third quarter with a dictating mentality.
They've outscored Indiana 20-7 in the third quarter.
Now Indiana's got to settle in. Be patient, spread the floor. That gave them success in the first half.
Chechesky. Kick to the corner to Gerzon. And Jordan Gerzon needed that. She only had 2 points. She's Indiana's leading scorer. Usually gives them about 15 a game.
Indiana had success in that first half of spreading the floor and getting the basketball move from side to side. Then when they do that, they get the shots that they want.
Megan's pass deflected off of Kitts and then into the hands of Gerzon. Offensive foul against Sydney Parrish.
The heat has turned up defensively for the South Carolina Gamecocks. Tahina Pow with quick hands on Chesky, the steal and the score. At the beginning of the third, South Carolina has taken over, taken charge, and been in attack mode. The reigning national champions went into the locker room down by 1, but when they came out, they put their cape on. They've gone up by 9. The patience offensively to get the shots they want, being intentional about getting the finish. If you're chasing your 4th national championship, it cannot be by chance, but by purpose, and that's how South Carolina came out in the third.
Defense helping fuel this run. They forced 4 turnovers. South Carolina in the third quarter, they've hit 7 of their last 9 shots. They've scored 10 points in the paint. They had a total of 12 points in the paint in the first half. Pow fired up on the bench. One of these teams will move on to the Sweet 16 next week in Birmingham. They'll get the winner of Alabama and Maryland. This is a rematch of last year's Sweet 16, where South Carolina led by as many as 22. The one over Indiana by 4 as Malaysia Fulwiley scores.
What has Don Staley done? Gone back to Mylasia Fulwiley and Joyce Edwards. Those two, the leading scorers for South Carolina, but they struggled in the first half. Simplified, and that's what Fulwiley did on that drive to the rim.
Her speed is her superpower. She used it there. Vargasser trying to pivot around Fulwiley's defense. Can't finish off of it. South Carolina is shooting 77% from the field in the third quarter.
A world of difference than what they shot in the first two quarters.
Raven Johnson, no.
Sydney Parrish, number 33 in black. She has got to get involved offensively.
Defensively, what adjustment do you want to see from Indiana?
They've got to stop the ball from coming in the paint. I think you've got to force South Carolina back into jumpers. They talked about, Tessa Johnson. They talked about green, yellow, red. Green means you pay attention to the shooters. Tessa Johnson's really the only one that Indiana is expecting to respect on the floor. Yellow was Raven Johnson's, means you play soft. They slower closeout, and red, stay in the paint. Like, yes, Chloe Kitts has hit from out there, but Sydney Parrish got to stay in and be air traffic control and not let drives happen.
Indiana talked to us about how important it would be to know that scouting report, especially with South Carolina's depth. Well, for the fifth straight year, every NCAA Women's Championship game is on the networks of ESPN. For more information, go to ncaa.com, your home for all 90 NCAA championships. Lily Meister cutting to the basket.
But who touched it? Sydney Parrish. She can make the decisions, but she's got to get touches for Indiana.
A fifth-year player, a veteran, who's playing against one of her best friends in Tahina Paopao. They started their careers at Oregon together, and now facing off. They talked immediately. As soon as the selection show popped up, Indiana and South Carolina could meet, Tahina Paopao was texting Sydney Parrish.
Paopao's having a good time right now. I thought it was real interesting. We talked to Sydney Parrish when she transferred to Oregon, coming to Indiana. That's an Indiana kid. And she said she remembers watching the NCAA tournament when she was in school, in high school. And she said, I would be watching the games during the day on my phone. Then she said, don't tell my teacher.
Yeah.
But she was already in tune and wanted to be on this stage and to do it for her home state. She loves putting on that Indiana uniform. And so her motivation in this tournament, she just wants to keep on putting it on, wants to wear it another day.
I don't think in the state of Indiana they mind if you're watching March Madness at school, right?
I don't think so.
They love basketball. Your zone, patience underneath. 7 points.
See, that's the thing. I don't think Indiana has to be in a hurry. When they execute their stuff, they open up the floor and they're getting good shots.
Maddie McDaniel. She's not afraid.
A little extra determination coming from South Carolina in this second half.
Oh, Caroline Strickland was flashing across the paint. Kitts got there, though. Joyce Edwards poked it away, and then she was fouled by Garzone, her first. Joyce Edwards didn't have her best first half of basketball, but her motor has not stopped. I mean, she has been playing so tough here.
Well, Don Staley said this freshman is experienced. She's gotten a lot of minutes in the regular season early on. So if she comes out in a game and she's not quite settled in, Don Staley has no hesitancy to go back to her.
Got to hustle here. Clock winding down. Edwards off the mark. But South Carolina shoots 73% from the field in the third quarter. And after trailing by a point at the half, they're up 11 with 10 minutes to go until the Sweet 16. We'll be back after this message and a word from our ABC stations. Games in the house. Lisa Leslie is a close friend of Dawn Staley. She's watching this one. And then Plies, we showed you him decked out in all the pink. He had a special gift for Dawn Staley. What was it, Thursday? She came over to practice and showed us a new chain he gave her. It is beautiful. You see it there in between her necklaces. You can't miss it. All the sparkle. It's a NCAA championship trophy, and on the back is a photo of Dawn holding up the national championship trophy.
Yeah, it's rose gold. Some people may refer to it as pink gold.
Some might.
But it is beautiful. The look on Dawn's face, she's like, Plies just gave this to me. Yeah.
South Carolina has looked much better in the second half. Indiana led by a point at halftime, but they were outscored 26-14 in the third quarter. Caroline Strickland up and in. Remember, though, last season when these two teams met in the Sweet 16, Indiana made that run. They cut it to 2 with about a minute to play.
And those 2 points away from tying it up, that's what Sydney Parrish said this team has focused on, getting back to this point.
Caroline Strickland is fouled.
To start the fourth quarter, letting Yarden Garzone make some decisions. Caroline Strickland set a mean screen right there to attack the basket and get to the free throw line.
She has made such a difference for Indiana since being inserted into the starting lineup back on January 19th as she gets the first free throw. Indiana this year had to figure out how to play without Mackenzie Holmes, who was a 5-year dominant post player for them, and Strickland transferring in from Tennessee has helped fill that void. Mackenzie Holmes.
Yeah, Mackenzie Holmes and Caroline Strickland battled against each other when Strickland was at Tennessee.
Now Mackenzie, a GA, so she still suits up and plays on the practice squad some.
She's still got moves, rehabbing, and she was drafted by the Seattle Storm, looking to go back to the WNBA.
Raven Johnson crashing the glass.
Now that fourth quarter last year in the Sweet 16, South Carolina missed some shots, took some ill-advised shots, turned the ball over, and that's what allowed Indiana back into the game.
Joyce Edwards with the travel and the turnover. Coverage of the NCAA Division I Men's Basketball Championship continues on CBS, TNT, TBS, and True TV. For more information on game times and listings, go to ncaa.com. One of these teams is going to the Sweet 16 in Birmingham next week. They'll face either Alabama or Maryland on Friday. Tipped off of Joyce Edwards. It'll stay with Indiana.
You tell the strategy of Indiana: attack the paint, make the South Carolina defense shrink. That will then open up for their three-point shooters.
Strickland can't find her way out of a double team by South Carolina.
Yeah, I thought it was too much dribbling by Joyce Edwards. Point guards left the ball.
Pass went back to Bargesser. And that's a turnover, Indiana. I thought Sydney Parrish should just take the shot.
Should have probably just gone up. And Terry Moore making a good move, getting Chloe Moore McNeil back on the floor. Need her leadership. Number 22 in black, Sydney Parrish. Number 33, she needs to hump buckets.
Kicks just overshoots Fagan.
It was the right idea, but the angle was bad. That's a tough position to get the ball inside to Fagan. And these turnovers could be costly for South Carolina.
They've had 3 turnovers already here in the fourth quarter. Garzone to the corner. She's 3 for 10 tonight.
South Carolina with this lead now. They've got to play to win, not play not to lose.
What does that look like?
I think you've got to push in transition, get into your secondary. If the shot's there, fine. If it's not, then you execute your stuff, but not hesitating, not trying to force things, not trying to make the home run pass. And then you got to lock down on the defensive end. Kind of like the defense, how they played coming out in that third quarter.
5 seconds here for Pow Pow. Off to the left. And there's going to be a foul on Sydney Parrish. That is her third.
Yeah, Parrish did everything she needed to do, but it was the hands wrapped around in the back. She used her backside, but all she needed to do was put her hands forward. But because they're back, that's what the official calls.
Well, South Carolina calls timeout. 6 minutes and 43 seconds to decide who's going to the Sweet 16. The NCAA Women's Championship is presented by Capital One. What's in your wallet? Fun. Tomorrow, here's what you need to do. You need to turn on ESPN when you get up and just leave it on, because we have 6 games for you all day tomorrow on ESPN. And I'm so excited that we get to go watch all these games.
Because it's going to go from noon to midnight. Come on.
Maybe you need a cookie, a little ice cream. Taylon's got her cookies. She's ready to go.
Go to the grocery store today.
Yeah.
So you have plenty of snacks tomorrow.
There's Taylor, who's a big South Carolina Gamecock fan. She has all the players' names on the end of her braids. I asked her pregame. She's 3 years old. I said, who's your favorite player? And she said, Pow Pow.
Oh, and she was so sweet. She recognized you had a little cut on your finger.
Yeah.
She said, you have a boo-boo? You said yes.
I said, I'm all right. Thank you, Taylor. I think she'll like the second half that she's seen from South Carolina. Close ball game, obviously, but South Carolina looks much more in a flow in that third quarter. They trailed by a point at the half.
Well, the defense turned up. The defensive pressure and having Chloe Kitts, not having her on the floor in the first half in that foul trouble was crucial.
And Fagan knew that she'd be on the other block. Kitts with the finish. She's got 9 points, all of them in the second half.
Their connection between those two, I think, has been a big difference since that loss to UConn.
Meanwhile, Indiana has not scored in 2.5 minutes. Jacheski fouled by Tahina Pow Pow for first.
When the ball comes to Fagan, as she makes a move, Sydney Parrish rotates over, and Chloe Kitts just steps into that drop pass position for the finish.
Inbound to Strickland. Back to Garzone. Gives it back to Caroline Strickland, and she'll have 2 free throws on the way. This foul against Raven Johnson of South Carolina. That's her third. Caroline Strickland, this is her 7th career game facing South Carolina. When she was at Tennessee, she faced them 6 times. This is the first. First 6 games against South Carolina for Caroline Strickland, just 4 points a game. But today, 10 points against the Gamecocks and 4 of 7 from the field.
She was inserted into the starting lineup just before Indiana played USC. And I think that's even given her great confidence, and she really likes the system because they play through the post.
Well, Indiana made the adjustment this time and made sure Chloe Kitts was covered up.
Well, and the thing that tonight Fagan's got to recognize, the defense is flooding the paint. Had that skip pass out to the corner. Corner doesn't have to shoot it. If they're open, they can, but then go outside back in.
I think Sydney Parrish had a little contact to the face, but she's still in there playing. That was the foul on Garzone, her second.
lot of dribbling for South Carolina.
Inside to Kitts, 5 seconds. Trying to get past Parrish. This is on Sydney Parrish. It's her 4th. It is. That's 4 fouls on her. She has fouled out their last 2 games.
Well, that's a tough assignment too against Chloe Kitts, who has put in the work in the weight room.
And I think she took another hit to the face. Sydney Parrish did, but training staff not looking at her. She's just going to take a seat.
She may have a little blood on her lip.
Kitts got 1 of 2.
Chloe Kitts got a little weight workout in before the game today.
That is her normal routine. She'll hit the weight room for about 15 minutes. Adding weight, adding muscle this year has been key for her success.
Stripling makes cut to the basket, but lost sight of the ball. Another Indiana turnover.
7 turnovers here in the second half for Indiana. Megan wants the basketball.
Well, she was in the lane for quite a long time.
Tahina Pow-Pow!
Her brother's loving it. Israel is up out of his seat.
She's got 9. Meanwhile, Indiana hasn't had a field goal in about 5 minutes. You got to have that if you're Indiana.
Yeah, you got to get those finishes inside. The time is ticking away.
Raven Johnson waiting in the corner too much. Chaycheski. Chloe Kitts with a double-double, 10 points, 10 rebounds, her 10th double-double of the season.
Now for South Carolina, it is a matter of clock management.
And an offensive foul against Sanaya Fagan on the pick and roll. Her first.
With the shot clock running down, if there's anything that can take the wind out of your sail, but to see Tahina Pow-Pow knock down a contested 3 with great confidence.
Tahina Pow-Pow, Sydney Parrish, very close friends playing against each other. Right now, Pow-Pow's Gamecocks have the upper hand. They knew that one of their careers would end today. Garzone, she's like, we got 3 minutes to get back in this. Not over yet, plenty of time.
That's the thing, that if South Carolina wants to advance, they got to be locked in defensively, because Indiana is that team that can knock down those shots.
Joyce Edwards spinning her way to the basket. In the third quarter, South Carolina's defense was able to fuel their offensive run. Turnover.
Joyce Edwards, who has struggled from the floor in this fourth quarter, though, she's found her footing. The reverse pivot, the reverse layup to get the finish.
She's their leading scorer, but only 5 points today.
Indiana's going to have to, they're going to have to bring some pressure. Otherwise, South Carolina can use the full shot clock.
Gets with the long 2. And the offensive rebound, Joyce Edwards. They'll swing it over to Bree Hall. No.
Hall didn't need to take that shot. Had a new 20-second reset.
Joyce Edwards almost had another offensive rebound. Well, Indiana down 11, just under 2 minutes to play. Both teams are in the bonus, so any foul results in 2 free throw shots.
And Indiana still has 3 timeouts.
Remember, under a minute to go, you can call timeout and advance the basketball in the women's game. Chaycheski with 2. 9-point game.
South Carolina's just going to use as much of the clock as possible.
If you're Indiana, when do you start fouling?
Well, I think that unless you're going to bring traps, you've got to try to stop the clock.
Joyce Edwards short. Now Indiana down 9, and Terry Morin will call timeout. Joyce Edwards hit the deck, but she gets up. So Indiana will have 2 timeouts remaining.
Gerzon with that crossover, crossed up Joyce Edwards. Then Morin called a timeout. It's a 3-possession game.
Let's take a look at today's Capital One rewarding performance, and it's a full stat line for Tahina Paopao. 9 points, 4 rebounds, career-high 4 blocks, and 2 steals.
Don Staley talked about how she needed Tahina Paopao to just run this team. She does it by example. She turned up the defensive pressure. She delivered the basketball to the right place at the right time, and is that scoring threat when necessary. Guards, help you advance in this tournament. Tahina Paopao has shown up big for the Gamecocks today.
Well, she told us a story where after the SEC tournament, when they won the SEC tournament championship, they were in the locker room, and Mylasia Fulwiley, who is a quiet player, stood up and said, I want to recognize Tahina for using her voice. She has helped us with her voice. That's the kind of role she plays on this team.
And that meant a lot to Tahina because Fulwiley, like you said, doesn't say a whole lot. It's kind of like E.F. Hutton, if you know who that is. Insurance company. And when they talk, or financial advising company, when they speak, you listen. Well, Mylasia Fulwiley complimenting Tahina Paopao, to know that an underclassman sophomore hears you, respects you, that's got to mean a lot.
Now, Indiana here, 26 seconds on the shot clock. They're down 9.
They've got to go for a quick strike. If they can't get a quick 3, first available shot, and then they got to foul.
Their zone in and out. She leads the Big Ten in 3-pointers made, so obviously they want her taking it. Now they got a foul. Their zone fouls Raven Johnson. Remember, any foul results in automatic 2 free throws. That'll be the 3rd against Yarden Garzon, and Raven Johnson is a 67% free throw shooter.
I almost want to think about if you're South Carolina, bringing Sanaya Fagan and Chloe Kitts back to the 3-point line, not risking a foul on a rebound, but just ready to defend.
Terry Morin will use her second to last timeout to advance the basketball. 44 seconds showing on the clock. South Carolina up 10.
Now, Terry's got to look at, I'd say a 3, and you've got options. You can go with Sydney Paris, Chaycheski, or Garzon. Garzon had a good look out of the last timeout. Then also talking about you score it, then you've got to put the pressure on, going for the steal, and then foul.
You see Paul Miller, one of the assistant coaches, he's in there drawing up the play. He was added to the staff on January 15th, spent 2 seasons with the Indiana Fever. He's leading this Indiana huddle right now.
And Dawn Staley telling her team, if you have to give up anything, it's the 2. Don't foul a three-point shooter. Don't even leave the floor to contest. But close out tight, force the drive. If it's a layup, you just take the ball out of bounds and you play with composure.
Parrish inbounds to Strickland. Trying to get Garzone open. Bree Hall is all over her. A deep 3 for Yarden Garzone. That was some Bree Hall defense right there. Now Dawn Staley will call timeout.
You don't want to risk turning the ball over underneath Indiana's basket.
So a 10-point lead for South Carolina right now, 32.5 left in this game, in a game where South Carolina, who is the defending national champion, they're trying to make their 11th straight Sweet 16, but they were really pushed in that first half, trailed by a point at halftime, but things have changed here in the second half.
Well, it was all the defense of Indiana really forcing South Carolina to settle for jumpers. South Carolina stayed in the game by getting on the offensive glass, but then Indiana kept them off the glass. But the third quarter, Dawn Staley went into the locker room and she challenged her team to turn things up defensively, to focus on the defense, and then their offense will come. And that definitely helped them in the second half.
Yeah. In the second half, they're shooting 54% from the field. And South Carolina 32.5 seconds away from the Sweet 16. Winner of our game faces either Alabama or Maryland. That game will be played tomorrow between Alabama and Maryland at 5 Eastern over on ESPN2.
Cheyenne Sellers of Maryland going against Sarah Ashley Barker of Alabama.
And a foul before the ball was inbounded by Alexis Bargesser. So 2 free throws coming for Tessa Johnson.
So no time ticked off the clock. I like in the WNBA, if you do that, you get possession in the ball. So it's kind of to de-incentivize that foul before the ball comes in.
Indiana will use its final timeout, down by 12 for this Indiana team. Chloe Moore McNeil, number 22 in that black jersey. Sydney Parrish, number 33. These two have meant so much and been so important in Indiana's success over the last few seasons.
Well, if you look at Chloe Moore McNeil, when she came in as a freshman, didn't play a whole lot, didn't say a whole lot, and has really found her voice. She was a great leader, and Terry Moore talks about the maturity. And when I talked to her dad talked about how proud he was of his daughter, of how she found her voice, and the leadership that she brings both on and off the court from Indiana. And then Sydney Parrish was able to come home and play for her home state of Indiana. Her grandparents had season tickets to come watch her play in Bloomington. She knows that they are watching her today, but she plays and represents her state at the University of Indiana with great pride.
Yeah, shout out to her grandparents, Alice and Steve, who are watching from home. Krzyzewski with the bank in. And Dawn Staley will call timeout. South Carolina will have 1 remaining.
Shay Chesky just pops out off the drive from Chloe Moore McNeil and knocks it down over Chloe Kitts. Bank shot still counts as 3.
Indiana down now 9 points with 26.1. It was South Carolina who called this timeout. They'll have 1 left. It's Lisa Leslie and her family watching on. this season for South Carolina, 31-3.
Well, South Carolina having Raven Johnson take the ball out. She's got the lowest free throw percentage, so you want her inbounding the basketball. So whoever else Indiana may foul got a higher probability of making those free throws.
And a foul before the ball inbounded. Vargas again. Seconds, so 2 free throws on the way.
Tessa Johnson, 5 of 6 from the free throw line today.
South Carolina opened up this tournament on Friday with a 60-point win against Tennessee Tech. They set school records for NCAA tournament points, threes, field goal percentage, largest margin of victory. And today they've been pushed in the second round.
They've said that the Southeastern Conference has prepared them to see all different kinds of styles and defensive approaches, and they've been able to figure it out.
And the fans come to their feet inside CLA. South Carolina back to the Sweet 16. They have loved this tournament the last 4 seasons, 18-1 in the NCAA tournament over the last 4 seasons. And you see Sydney Parrish and Tahina Paopao with the embrace, 2 very close friends battling on the court today. Sydney Parrish's career coming to an end, and Tahina Paopao, she will move on to the Sweet 16.
Well, Paopao will move on to the Sweet 16. I think GMs will take a look at Sydney Parrish for their length, the versatility, the competitive nature that she brings. But she's had a tremendous career as she finishes at Indiana.
Those 2 very close friends. So South Carolina advancing. The title defense is still on as South Carolina is trying to repeat as national champions. They would be the first since UConn won 4 in a row in 2016. Gamecocks moving on to the Sweet 16. They get either Alabama or Maryland on Friday in Birmingham. South Carolina beats Indiana 64-53. Back to the studio.
Big statement.
Just want to say congratulations to Indiana for making it to the second round and giving us a hard-fought game. We knew coming in it would be very similar to the basketball that was displayed out there for the last 2 hours. Proud of our team, the way they gutted up and didn't flinch. It wasn't pretty, but at this time, it doesn't have to be. You just got to score more points than the other team and work the kinks out as we advance into the tournament.
Open it up for questions just for the student athletes. Please raise your hand. We'll get a microphone to you. We'll start with David on the right.
Powell, 4 blocks today. Just where'd that come from? Just did you think the team really needed it at that point? Just got to take us through that if you could.
Yeah, y'all see that. But not really proud of myself. I had more blocks and threes today, but that's okay. I thought today was more of a defensive mindset for myself. The scouting report was, she's a really good player, so I didn't want to let my team down. And so I'm part of the seatbelt gang now. So I'm really proud of that as well. And I just got to carry that defensive mindset throughout the tournament as well.
Let's go to Pete in the 3rd row.
For both Chloe and Powell, what happened in the first half, and how did you guys turn the switch in the 3rd quarter?
Tina, take that first, please.
The first half, I feel like we were overthinking a lot of things. We weren't keeping it simple. And I feel like when we keep things simple and do what we do, we play great basketball. And we were rushing a lot of shots, and we weren't locked in on making layups today. And, in the halftime, we told each other that we're good. Just keep it simple, make layups, and find the open person.
Chloe?
Yeah, exactly what she said. I mean, we were all just missing our easy layups, and there wasn't really flow in the game. And then second half, we turned it around.
on getting stops as well. Very key.
Other questions? Let's go back to the left.
Hey guys, looking ahead to the Sweet 16, how are you guys planning to attack that process of just getting prepared, especially with a few days off? Is there anything specific you guys want to work on in film or practice?
Chloe?
We have 1 day off, so we don't have a few. So, I mean, we're just gonna watch our film and do what the coaches say for our scout. We're all super excited, and we know we need to take one game at a time.
Tina?
I mean, yeah, what Chloe said, we're gonna take tomorrow off. I think. I don't know. I'm assuming. But we just gotta get our minds right, get our bodies right. We gotta rest and recover. You know, it's gonna be a long stretch for us, so we just gotta be prepared, be disciplined, and get ready for our next game.
Let's go ahead, David.
If both of you could take this. Yeah. Just when you said you talked about yourself at halftime, was there one person who said something? Was it a group effort? Just who really spoke up at that?
Tina?
Good luck with that answer.
Me.
Okay.
No, it was me. I just told the team, like, hey, we gotta keep it simple. I think we were second guessing ourselves, and we play team basketball. We play great basketball, and it's really fun to play great basketball. And you know, coach says good basketball is gonna reward you, and that's what happened coming out of the third quarter. So that's the mindset. We just gotta keep it simple and do what we do.
Chloe?
I mean, Pau just calmed us down. Exactly what she said.
Lulu, in front.
Question for each of you. One, Chloe, what does it look like when Pau does calm everybody down? Is it kind of vocal? Is it just walk me through what that is like?
She's became more vocal over time, but I feel like just her presence calms us down. Like when she's in the game with us, just playing with her, I just feel so much more calm out there. And I've talked to a couple of my teammates, and we all kind of feel the same.
And Pau, for you, you've talked about kind of the emotions of obviously you knew this was going to be your last game in CLA regardless. I guess how, when you're down fighting back versus when you hit that 3 with 3 seconds left on the shot clock, just the wave of emotions, is it trying to stay steady or is it you allow yourself to kind of go up in those moments?
You just got to stay calm and be consistent. You know, you can't go too high with the, you know, highs and too low with the lows. And when you got a team like us, you know, they trust you, they have confidence in you. And when you play for, you know, coach, she does a really good job with that and putting your trust in you. And so, you know, shout out to the fams. Y'all made my experience here so much fun. Super blessed, and it's been a fun experience so far.
Other questions? Joe?
Tina, just kind of following up on this. This was your last game at Colonial Life Arena. Walk me through those emotions and what it was like playing for the fams one last time.
It was fun. You know, when we had that stretch in the third quarter, it was so loud, and just being able to play in, you know, fans like that is just makes the experience even more better. And I cherish the moments that we had today. And I'm just super proud of our team, and just, you know, we just got to keep it pushing. And shout out to the fans for always showing support and love.
Other questions? Anyone? No? All right, y'all can go. Thank you. Congratulations. Take questions now for Coach Staley. Start with David.
Don, you mentioned the good luck with the voice in the huddle. What do you mean by that? Is there one player as a group effort to talk to them in those moments?
Well, they just told me Powell calmed them down, but I'm sure it was amongst 9 to 10 other voices talking. So it's just the daycare. That's what I'm referencing. It's not like a board meeting where there's one person talking at a time. It is chaos. So I was glad to see they actually stopped and listened to her, because what she says is coming from being an experienced player that's been through this process, and we need her voice.
Pete?
Dawn, how did you feel about that first half, and were you sure they would find their stride in the third quarter?
Yes, I mean it's a little unnerving because it's not, you know, how you envision execution. I thought we were getting great looks, they just wouldn't fall. So, you know, for us is if we're going to get the same type of looks, we're probably going to be in good shape, because we're not going to, you know, Chloe and Fagan aren't going to be, I think they were 0 for 10, 0 for. And then I think Joyce made one layup, and that was off of a broken play. Lay got a steal and tossed it back to her. And she made we're a very efficient post group of bigs. So sooner or later, somebody's going to get on course to do what they normally do. I think we settled in. I think our defense got a lot better in the third quarter and afforded us a lead to the point where we just held on and got the win.
Luke?
Pau, her defense today, what did you think of those 4 blocks and stepping up, especially in the first half there?
Powell's defense was great. It was executed to a T. That young lady, I don't want to butcher her last name. We just call her Shay. So Shay does a really good job going left. She is unconscious going left. She is super efficient. And Powell just sat on her left hand, forced her right. She did get, I think she got 12 points, but she would have gotten a lot more if she got into the flow of going left. So I thought she did a great job. We told her that in the locker room. And I'm happy that we're helping to complete Powell because for the longest her reputation is she just flat out shoot the ball. She's a consummate point guard, and I don't think her defense gets enough credit in the past 2 years that she's been with us because it's gotten better and better and better. And then she had performances like she did today.
Joe.
Coach, you saw a lot of poise from your veterans. Talk to me about how big that is, especially in this time of year.
It's huge. We have to lean on, we got to lean on our most experienced players. They've been here before. They've done it time and time again through being on the court or just, seeing it from sitting on the bench. That is experience being in these situations. And I really don't want to, this is not, we don't take any of this for granted. We didn't think we were just going to walk over to opponents in the first and second round, but getting to a Sweet 16 is hard. It's hard, and to do it in as many consecutive years that we've done it, it doesn't get old. It's not taken for granted, and we cherish the opportunity to move to the second weekend in the NCAA tournament.
Your third row.
Hey, Coach, what have you found is the best process for getting your players and your coaching staff ready from round to round of the NCAA tournament?
From where?
From round to round.
round?
Yes, ma'am.
I think it's really important to balance the rest part of it, balance the active recovery, balance the film sessions, and balance really how much the players are locked in. They, we read the room when it comes to them. If they're focused in, our time on the court is probably cut in half. If they're not, we'll probably have more film sessions. We didn't even, I think we did one drill yesterday where we just went up and down. It was at the very beginning. It's a conditioning drill that we do every day before a game. And then everything else was just half court, just making sure that we're able to execute what we need to execute. They are a fine oil machine. They run their stuff. They execute it. They got you working on both sides of the court on when we're on defense. Just well-rounded and calculated and deliberate in what they want to do. So they're exhausted. I know our players are exhausted, but it takes that to beat a team like Indiana.
Front row, Lulu.
Going back to what you said about Pau's defense, could you just provide some maybe behind the scenes perspective of how she's developed the last 2 years with it specifically? Because a lot of it isn't what we see on the court.
It's developed over the past 2 years, probably from her being targeted. They go after her. They put her in ball screen actions. They target her to be able to defend. They wear her out so her shot isn't as fluid, in the third and fourth quarters. And then you get tired of hearing that because we'll tell you, hey, Pau, you're up. They're coming after you. And you hear it over and over again. And then we give her ways in which, you can decrease the amount of times that people are getting what they want on the floor. So she's taking heed to just getting better. I mean, we're a culture of playing defense, and if you don't play it, you stick out. And Powell's not one that wants to stick out in that way.
Other questions? Got one standing there.
Hey, Coach, the players were talking a little earlier about the atmosphere from the fams. At the send-off today, I talked to one lady who's from Florida who has season tickets, who comes from for every game, people who came from North Carolina, people who came from Georgia. What do you want to say about the commitment? They talked a little bit about the controversy in Greenville about possibly, wanting to move to a quote-unquote neutral location, and their point today was fams will travel from outer space. I mean, Paris, wherever. But the atmosphere that they created today is what I really want you to address.
I mean, it's like no other. Like the unity that's created in this building, and we do take that act on the road. It's quite incredible. Like it's overwhelming. It's so much. It's so good that trying to describe it does it a disservice. But they were loud in that third quarter. They had the energy. They were trying to force us into playing to our habits, even in the first quarter and the second quarter. What we've been able to do, it's not you can't look into a marketing scheme, because it's not that. It really is. If it's that easy, everybody would be doing it. We would bottle it up and we would sell it to the next, basketball program. But it is them creating it, them buying. You'll hear, a season ticket holder buying 10 other season tickets to bring other people in, and those other 10 will buy what will become season ticket holders. And it's just a trickle down effect to the point where this is really the place to be when it comes to women's basketball. It's entertainment, it's developing and creating friendships. It is unified. I mean, you look into our our arena, you can see every seat filled, and is of every background, like every single ethnic background. I mean, I think that is probably, we've won national championships, but I would say that we've been champions in uniting people, and that is super proud. Like that's the thing that I'm most proud of. That's the thing that's kept me here for 17 years. To walk away from what we've built here would be extremely hard, like extremely hard. And I think it's unmatched.
Pete.
Thanks, Judy.
Dawn, you talked about all your players at halftime chattering to be heard and make sure they get their voices there. That was a lot of what we heard last year when maybe they didn't know what they didn't know yet on the way. Is it that same? Do they have that same quality, or is there a little more harder edge because they are defending national champions?
Yeah, I mean, some of it makes sense now. It does. Like some of it is things that we really have to do to lock in on getting a win. Like there are things that they discuss that create separation for us, or there are things that we're doing positively that we must continue to do. So you'll hear that, but you still hear like 13 voices talking at the same time, and they've probably conditioned themselves to be able to compartmentalize and just hear everything and know the gist of what the chaos is. But it sounds like chaos to us.
Last question will go to a Zoom called Zefto. Seth?
Don, Indiana's a program that's been close to your level in recent years, #1 seed a few years ago, obviously pushed your team the last couple of years. From your perspective, what do you feel like has kind of kept them from taking that next step? Is it more just rolls of the dice, luck of the draw, or do you see something bigger, a bigger difference between a program like theirs and a program like yours?
I mean, Terry can coach. Like she can really coach. She does a really great job at getting her players to play to their strengths. Obviously, it is some of it is luck, some of it is matchups. Like it really is when it comes to the NCAA tournament. So I think you just have to keep plugging. She's got the talent. She's got, the assistant coaches pool of people. You just got to get lucky. Just got to get lucky.
All right. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. What'd you have? What'd you have?
Thank you so much, Coach. The last time you were down at halftime was that loss to UConn in February. I know you and Tahina already touched on it a little bit, but what was different this time in the locker room to pull you guys back in the game? Did you even need to say anything? Was it just a look, or was that just entirely player-led?
I think when we're down at halftime, which is not very often, you want to keep the same energy that you have when you're up. They know, like they really know. We got an experienced group of players that really know what needs to take place in order for us to correct what was going on out there. Part of it was just we missed good shots. Part of it was we missed bad shots. Part of it was, our defense wasn't hitting on all cylinders. But over time, like that, the game is 40 minutes. I think within that time frame, we can get to our good habits. And we did that coming out of halftime in the third quarter. We got a chance to get Chloe on the floor, keep on the floor a little bit longer than we did in the first half. She actually, when she got her second foul, she's like, I was ball pressuring. You were not only ball pressuring, you were fouling. Like stay in the game, Chloe. Thank y'all. Appreciate it.
She probably won't agree with you at all. She won't agree with you at all.